Okay. All right, so today's daf is Lamed Dalet. We are going to start at the bottom of Lamed Gimel, literally 2 lines from the bottom. So for the past 2 days, we've been talking about a man who originally has written a get for his wife, and then he changes his mind and he wants to actually cancel the get, and what the implications are about that, and when it is possible, when it's not possible. Okay, so the last thing that we were talking about is actually the fact that you potentially could go and get it annulled in front of a court. So you had like Rav Nachman follows Rebbe, and he said that even though Rabbi Gamliel told us that you're not supposed to do bitul only in front of a shaliach or the woman, bedieved, if you actually do it in front of a bedin, it's acceptable. But as far as Rebbe, if you mivatel, if it's like the shaliach is not in the presence of the other shaliach, also that was not possible. So here, like you're talking about mivatel the get not in the presence of the wife or the shaliach. Is it still will be a valid bitul, but Rav Nachman does not agree. Okay. Velet le Rav Nachman ma koach bet din yafe. So it's like, he, as far as he's concerned, he doesn't agree with the fact that when you have any kind of issues, then it doesn't matter if the court, if you don't agree with the court and you would go against it. He says, what are you talking about? The court is like, is like the ultimate decider. And so unless like you should like actually be able to go and have them like decide. Ve'amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. So Rav Nachman says in the name of Rav Shmuel, Yetomin sheba'u lechalok benichse avihen. So you have like orphans who actually have just lost their father, right? And so comes to the point where they're minors, and the estate of the father has to be divided. So what happens? Bet din mehamidin lahen optropus. So it's apotropus. So it's like the bedin actually appoints a guardian, and the guardian is going to make the decision on their behalf because they're minors and they don't have like they cannot like actually make the decisions on their own. And so there's, let's say there's 2 brothers or there's 3 brothers, each of like the guardian is going to negotiate on their behalf like a nice part of the estate so that they each have their portion. Higdilu, and then they grow up and they're not happy about whatever it is that they have received. Yecholin limchot, they can actually protest, like, in terms of what it is that has been given to them. V'Rav Nachman dide amar higdilu en yecholim limchot. It's like, as far as Rav Nachman is saying, it's like, no, it's like once they're like grown-ups, it's like, what do you mean? Whatever it is that they have received, they have received. There's no like, there's no redivision of like the assets. The imken makoach bedin yafe, because if you would do that, then what it would mean is that like the court would have no power, and whatever it was that would have been decided at the time actually did not make any kind of sense. So as far as he's concerned, the power of the court has to be upheld. So in this case, in the case of the Yetumim, we do employ the concept of makoach bedin yafa. Okay. Hatam mamona. So that's like because it was a monetary matter. Acha isura. It's like, so this, like, there was no issue in terms of like upholding whatever it is that the court said. But when we're talking about a get, then it's a complete different kind of like a story. And you're talking about an eshet ish, so you cannot play this kind of game. So as far as Rav Nachman is concerned, you cannot hold whatever it is that the court says when it comes to a matter of get. Okay. So Gidul bar Re'ilayi, shadar la gita ledevitehu. So it's like this guy, Gidul Bad Reilai. So he sends a get to his wife, and he actually chooses an agent, like a shaliach, to do that. Azal shaliach, ashkachach dehava yetava venavla. So the agent goes, and she lives like, in Yonkers, and she's sitting and she's like weaving. And so Amarla, ha gitecha. I'm like, this is your get. He like presents the get over to her and he gives it to her. She does not want to accept it. So that's very interesting. Amrale, zil ashta mehe vita lemachar. Go away and come back tomorrow. Okay. And then, at this point of time tomorrow, I'll take it. So he went back to Gidul, the guy who actually gave him like the get to bring to his wife, and he told him what happened. He says, you know what, I went and I found your wife and she was sitting and she was weaving, and I told her I'm bringing you a get, and she says, not now, basically, come back tomorrow. Patach ve'amar baruch atov ve'ametiv. So when he hears that, Gidul Bar Ilai says, blessed he who is good and does good. So this is very interesting in terms of like what are we going to make out of this in terms of like what it was that was and how it was that it was actually said and what it is that it actually means. Abaye Amar, Baruch Atov ve'ametiv velo batel gita. Okay, so the husband said, like, blessed is he who is good and does good. It's like, as far as I'm concerned, the get is not betel. Why? Because we can see, the shaliach did whatever it was that he had to do. And it's like, and he actually was supposed to have like, given the get to the wife. It's a valid get. There's no reason why there's any kind of issue. Rava Amar, Baruch Atov ve'ametiv ve'batel gita. As far as like, Rava says, the fact that the husband said Baruch Atov ve'ametiv is fine, but it's not sufficient. So it's like, it is sufficient. So it's like he doesn't mean that he means that the get like is actually void. It's annulled because it's like as if he had said that like, it's like it was that he didn't want it to be delivered. Bame kamiflege. So which point is it that we're arguing about here? Begilui de ata begita kamiflage. So here we're talking about intent. Okay, so gilui da'at. It's like, did the husband actually mean that he wanted to get rid of like, of the get? That's like just by saying Baruch Atov ve'ametiv, was it is sufficient to show that he actually did not want to have the get delivered anymore? Or was it like, or was it he just like was showing like, Hashem is great, as we all know, and it didn't go further than that. The Abaye Savar Gilui Da'ata Begita Lav Miltahi. So as far as Abaye is concerned, he said that when it comes to a get, the Gilui Da'at is not sufficient. It's like, you really have to express things in a way that are very clear so that we understand that this refers specifically to this. Verava Savar Gilui Da'ata Begita Miltahi. But as far as Rava is concerned, it's significant enough to actually have the get like voided and it's batel. Okay, Amar Rava, Mina Amina La. So where is it that, this is coming from in terms of like the husband saying that he's actually intends to get rid of the get? De Rav Sheshet, Ashkele Gita Leahu Gavra Be'al Bereche. So Rav Sheshet, he is like actually, he worked very hard to get this man to give a get to his wife. So obviously this was a very bad situation, and the man didn't want like give the gets to his wife. But you know what? He actually worked hard at it, and he really wanted like to. He managed to get the guy to write the get and to have it delivered to the wife. Ve'amar lehu lechasdeh, after the get was written, the husband actually talks to the witnesses and he said, Achi amar lechu Rav Sheshet, even though Rav Sheshet, told you, lebatel gita, I heard him and he said, oh, you need to get rid of this get. You need to nullify it right away. Ve'atzriche Rav Sheshet gita acharina. And so, unfortunately, Rav Sheshet had to get him to write another get because the get was batel by the fact that he actually expressed the fact that it was actually, he wanted to get rid of it. Ve'abaye, atu Rav Sheshet mevatel gita de inshe ava. It's so Abaye is asking, it's like, how is it possible that actually a third party here, Rav Sheshet, is has the power to get rid of a get on behalf of somebody else? Ihu batla, it's what happened is the husband, he actually is the one who really wanted to get it voided, right? To get batel. Vehe deke amar lehu achi. And it's for that reason that he actually used the name of Rav Sheshet and said that he was the one who had decided that he should be batel, mishum bifnoi. It's because it's he knows that, he knows that he was very scared of Rav Sheshet, right? He knows that he lied, and he knows that Rav Sheshet's guys are going to come after him and are going to beat him up. And so it was easier for him to say Rav Sheshet himself is the one who said that it should be voided. So we have another situation. The Amar Abaye, Mena Aminala. Where is it that we get this whole story? That the husband's expression, even though it's not, complete, it's sufficient to actually, get the get batel. De Rav Yehuda, Ashkele Gita lechatane de Rabbi Yirmiyah bera'a. So it's the same kind of situation. Rav Yehuda was trying to get this the son-in-law of Rabbi Yirmiyah bera'a to actually write a get for his wife. And he's he has to get edim, and he has to get everyone involved to get it done. Vebatle. It's before he actually got it delivered to the wife, the husband decides that he doesn't want to do it, and so he voids it, right? Tana Ashkele, Rav Yehuda goes back to him and he said, dude, I don't know what you're doing here, but obviously this marriage is not working. You need to get, you need to give a get to your wife. So, ubatle. And again, they write the get, and the husband manages to say, no, I really don't want to, this get is not valid. Hadar Tana ve'ashkale al kerecha. And so he's Rav Yehuda said, you know what, this is not going to work for me here. We need to force this guy to do it. So he gets him to write another get, even though he really doesn't want to. Ve'amar lehu lesachadeh. And what he does is he tells the witnesses, Otivu kare benuaichu vechatvu le. Put something earplugs in your ears, and this way it's you won't have heard that actually the husband wants to actually void the get, and as far as you're concerned, you're good to go, and you can go and you can actually deliver it. So it's it's a little extreme, but actually, obviously, he did whatever it is that he had to do because he wanted for the husband to actually free his wife. So here Abaye says it's okay, so you see here that you have when you're showing intent, this is what is significant, and this is what the get is this is when the get is voided. So whatever it is that happens that that they can't hear, in the case of the witnesses, they put earplugs in their ears and they can't hear the husband say that he wants to actually void the get. What happens then? This they're going to see the husband is actually running after them, right? So it's like, okay, so he's running after the edim. It's like, what is it possibly that he can tell them? It could mean like this is like he's not expressing himself verbally. He's not saying, wait, I want to make sure that you're giving, like, maybe he's saying, I want to make sure that you give this gift to my wife. Verava, ha dekaraid betraihihu. It's like, maybe the reason why is like the husband is running after the edim is the amar lehu ashur havu lahaya. It's like, make sure that you actually run faster to give her the get, like, timely. Ki echa de mishlam ta'ara de ahu gavra. It's like, it's like, so that like at this point of time, like, the wife stops like being in pain from waiting for this get to come. So the fact that he's running, it doesn't mean that he actually wants to stop them. So we see that even though there might have been intent there, the fact that he did not express it completely was not sufficient. The Amar Abaye, me'an minalan. So it's like, where is it that we're getting this from? The Ahu, the Amar Lehu. So it's like there was a guy who actually talked to like the witnesses who were like right before they were going to go and deliver the get. I lo atina ad taltin yomin. If I'm not coming back here, he's going on a trip, and he says, if I'm not coming back here within 30 days, leheregita, this get that I am giving you from my wife Sarah is going to be a valid get, and you can give it to her. Ata hafsaked mirava. So on the 30th day, he actually comes back, and this is the last day, and it's like he needs to cross a river to get to the village wherever it is that he actually lives, and the river crossing is blocked, so he cannot go back. Amar leu chazu de atai, and so he's like screaming from the other side of the river, I'm here. And it's like, as far as he's concerned, it's like, he's back. So there's no reason that like the get should be delivered. It should be like voided. Amar Shmuel lo shema matya. It's like Shmuel said, it's like, this is not coming back. He like waited until the very last second. So actually, this is the Khatam Sofer says that like he compares this situation to someone who's waiting until the last second to daven, and he missed this man, right? It's like, oh, there was something that came up and I needed to run an errand and I came back and it's like, oops, like, I missed the time, right? It's like, and said, okay, it doesn't matter, I'm going to make it up. There's no excuse with a get, okay? He knew that he had 30 days and to come back. And if he didn't come back within that time period that the get was going to be totally valid, there's no excuses. There's nothing that stopped him in the middle that was like so, impossible that for him that he wasn't going to be able to not deliver the get. So basically, this is a situation where he actually wanted to. And this is a situation where actually this is like not a complete marriage. This is a marriage that's like, in the first stages. As we know, there's two stages, there's Erusin and there's Nisuin. This is like, someone who was just like, who had just done Erusin, he didn't do Nisuin. Okay, so Verava, Atu hatam lebutel gita bahe. So why is it that the husband here needed to do to void the get? Hatam lekayumed tenae ka bae. It's like there was like specific condition, which was the 30 days that he was supposed to come back within that time. Veha lo hikayem tenae. And so since the condition was not fulfilled, then the get is valid because there was a t'nai. He specifically said there is like I am going to come back within the 30 days, and if I don't, then you receive a get. Ahu de amar lehu. So this is like the story of another man, and he's like betrothed to this woman. And we know that back then, like more or less, they were like they did when they did Erusin, it lasted up until like a year. And so he's like, he actually gave a get to that was like that was like prepared, and he said to the edim, ilo nasivna ad selatin yomin. If we actually don't get married within 30 days, so this is the opposite. He wants to speed it up. He wants to get married as fast as possible. Li'eve gita. This get is going to be valid. Ki matutelatin yomin. And then the 30 days are are coming to an end, and they didn't do nisuin. So amar lehu a tarchana. So when he was he was told, well, that's it. It's like, we're going to deliver the get to your wife, to your betrothed, because you didn't finish, you didn't get ready in time to actually marry her within the 30 days. Oh, but I was busy preparing the wedding and talking to the caterer and arranging for for the hall and everything else. It's like, no, it's like, this is not a good reason. Lemai nechushla. It's like, is this actually something that is reasonable? Is it something that is a valid reason to actually cancel the get? Mishum unsa. It's like there was no circumstances beyond his control that stopped him from actually getting ready in time for the wedding. And ones begitin. And so in terms of Gittin, we decide that there's actually no specific force that would stop anyone from doing whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. So if someone was supposed to be delivering a get within a certain period of time, it's there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to do it, because this is not something that actually you should be waiting until the last minute. Mishum giluye de ata begita. So what what we should actually pay attention to is the fact that the husband actually has intent. He has he's showing gilui da'at to get rid of the get. Plugata de Abaye veRava hu. And this is exactly what Abaye and Rava are actually arguing about. They're arguing about the fact that when someone wants to void a get, then it has to show that they have to show that intent, and that it has to and so the halacha actually follows Abaye, that it's not effective. It's not sufficient enough to just say, hey, I want to get rid of this person. I want to give her a get. It specifically has to be stipulated. I no longer want to be married to this woman. So ahu de amar lehu. Another situation with a man who's betrothed to a woman. They're supposed to also to get married within a certain period of time. He gives her a get, and then he gives her a get. He gives her a get, that's conditional on specific stipulations. What's the stipulation here? I lo nasivna leresh yerecha de adar leheve gita. If we actually do not get married by Rosh Chodesh Adar, then you can give her this get. This is a valid get. Ki mataresh yerecha de Adar, and then Rosh Chodesh Adar happened, and it came and didn't get married. There was no nisuin that actually took place. Amar lehu ana leresh yerecha de Nisan amri. Oh, I made a mistake. I didn't intend actually to say it until Rosh Chodesh Adar. I actually meant Rosh Chodesh Nisan. This is why actually I didn't get married. We didn't get married on time. Okay, it's by Rosh Chodesh Nisan is going to come. He's going to say, oh, I meant Iyar, right? So anyway, lemai nachushla. So why is it that we should be worried about here? I mishum ones. This it's not effective. There was no uncontrollable circumstances that actually stopped him from getting married. And ones begitin, there's actually no way that when it comes to Gittin to say that actually he wasn't able to fulfill the condition, even if there was something that was in his way. Mishum geluye de'ata. So if, like we say, that there was gilu da'at, right, and that because of that the get is actually would be batel, because the and so then plugata de Abaye veRava. This is exactly what Abaye and Rava are arguing about, that it needs to show intent that would be effective in getting the get batel, but it's still the same thing. We follow Abaye, and Abaye says, like, it's not effective. So when there's conditions like this, it's like, there's nothing that goes. Usually the get is still valid. Okay, so we have like different like halachot where you have like Rav Nachman, who argues with other people, other rebbeim, and what happens is like we actually follow when there's a machloket in between Abaye and Rava, we always follow Rava, except in 6 cases. Okay, so here it says v'hilchata ke Nachman v'ilchata ke Nachman. So the halacha follows the view of Rav Nachman, and it follows the view of Nachman, right? So it's like, it both says Nachman ve'ilchata ke Nachmani, and it follows the opinion of Nachmani. And Nachmani, as we know, is Abaye. So why is he called Nachmani, right? So he was an orphan from a very, very young age, and he was raised by Rabba Bar Nachmani, and he gave him a name after his own father, right? And so, which was like, because they took like, the family name. And so because he wanted to show actually respect to his own father, and not, you don't call your father by his name, so they call him by like the Amharic, in Aramaic, Abaye means my father. So this was like, why he was actually, Nachmani was like, we refer to him as Abaye. So in the machloket, in between Abaye and Rava, we follow Rava, except in 6 cases. And those cases, we refer to them as Yakdam, and the Gimel is specifically for Gittin, okay, Gittin, which is what it is that we're actually learning now. And this is one of the 6 where we actually paskin like Abaye. Okay, so we have a new Mishnah that is going to be talking about like the difference. What is it that you're supposed to write in terms of the names of the people that are getting divorced in the get, when potentially people have different names. So we know that like people have their regular names, and then people have nicknames. I mean, here, like, nowadays we have like English names and we have Hebrew names. So there's like all kind of things here in terms of how it is that it's supposed to be written in the get, right? Okay, barishona haya meshane shemo ushema. So normally, when like, beforehand, how it was that they were writing a get, it's like, they would change the name of the husband and they would change the name of the wife. Shem iro veshem ira, or the name of the city where he came from, or the name of the city where she came from. And still, it would actually still be valid. Okay. Hitkin Rabban Gamliel Hazaken sheyehe kotev ish ploni v'chol shum sheyesh lo. So Rabban Gamliel, the elder, he says that when you write a get, you have to say this and this man and every name that he has. So maybe it says like, it's like, Reuven, and all the names that he has. Isha ploni v'chol shum sheyesh la. And it's like, this woman and every name that she's known by. Nipne tikun haolam. This is like, for the benefit of society. So it's like, actually, Tosafot says that there's like a fundamental machloket in Hilchot Gdolot about kol shem sheyesh lo, in terms of like, this is what needs to be written. It's not like that you write, she's named Sarah and she's also named Miriam and she's also named like Rivka. No, you write she's named Sarah, v'kol shem sheyesh lo. This is what you need to write. And this is actually how the Shulchan Aruch paskins. And, but Rabbeinu Tam says, no, this is not what we do. We really have to list all the names that this woman is known by. So she's known by Sarah and Miriam and Rivka and whatever, you have to write every single one of them. So that's like, that's for in terms of like the name of the woman. Amar Rav Yehuda, Amar Shmuel. Let's see what the Gemara has to say about this. So Shalchu le bnei medinat hayam le Rabban Gamliel. So you have people who were overseas, and they sent like a question, sheila to Rabban Gamliel, who was in Eretz Israel. Bnei Adam abaim misham lechan. So you have people who are going from Eretz Israel actually to like to Chutz La'aretz. And then when they're in Chutz La'aretz, they use different names. They don't use like the Hebrew names, or they use like something else. Shemo Yosef, Korim Lo Yochanan. So it's like, his name was Yosef when he lived in Israel. But like, when he's outside of Israel, when he's like in Paris, he's actually being called Yochanan. Yochanan ve'korin lo Yosef, or someone whose name was like Yochanan originally, but then like, for some reason, he's being called Yosef. He'ach megrashin neshotehen. So how is it that you can actually write a get and you can like, give it to their wives, and their wives know who it is that they're talking about, right? Amad Rabban Gamliel ve'itkin sheyahu kotvin ish ploni v'chol shum sheyesh lo. This is why Rabban Gamliel said, like, this, the way that the get should be written, it should say, well, this guy's name, like whatever, like Yosef, and all the names that we actually know him by. Isha plonit v'chol shum sheyesh la, and this woman and every single name that she's known by, mipnei tikun haolam, supposedly it's like it benefits people and society that we know that they're known by different names in different places. Amar Rav Ashi vehu deitchazek betre shemeh. It's like, it's like this actually, the way that the only time when we actually use this specific reasoning is when someone has two names. Amar le Rabbi Abba le Rav Ashi. Rabbi Mari veRabbi Eleazar kaima kavtach. It's like, so and Rabbi Mari and Rabbi Eleazar, it says actually they enforce this the same way. They said yes, this is like exactly what Rabban Gamliel said in terms of someone who has more than one name, someone who has two names. This is exactly how it is that we're passing. Tanya kavte de Rav Ashi. So we have a baraita that actually follows what Rav Ashi has said in terms of like following Rav Mari and Rav Eleazar, who follow Rabban Gamliel. Hayu lo shte nashim. This was this guy, and he had two wives. Achad bihuda ve'achad bagalil. One that lived in Yehuda and one who lived in the Galil. Velo shne shemot. He had actually two names. Echad bihuda ve'echad begalil. So when he lived like in Yehuda with wife number one, he was called Yosef. When he lived in Galil with wife number two, he was called Yochanan. Vegaresh et ishto shebihuda bishemo shebihuda. So when he gets divorced in like Yehuda from his wife who lives there, he uses the name that he's being known by in Yehuda, right? He's known by the name Yosef, let's say. And when he wants to like, if he wants to get divorced from his wife who actually lives in the Galil, he uses the name that he's known by in the Galil. Let's say Yochanan. Okay. Ena megoreshet. She is not going to be divorced. Ad sheyiragesh et ishto bihuda bishmo bihuda v'shem hagalil imo. And it's like, until he actually is going to get divorced from his wife who's in Yehuda, when he uses his name that he uses in Yehuda, together with the name that he uses in Galil. Ve'et ishto shebagalil bishmo begalil beshem Yehuda imo. So basically what has to happen is he has to use all the names that he's known by, not just like one name here and one name there, so that if everyone is aware of the fact that he has both names, then both names have to be written in the get, right? And then the way that they would do it is like, if like in Yehuda, he was named Yosef, that they would put Yosef first, and then they would put Yochanan. And if Galil, he was known by the name Yochanan, they would put Yochanan first, and then they would put Yosef. All right. Yatsa lemakom acher. So now, if he was in neither places, right? He's like neither. He's not in Yehuda. He's not in Galil. He's like in Lebanon. Vegaresh be'echad mehen megoreshet. And he's like, he can actually get divorced from either one of the two wives using either one of his two names. It doesn't make a difference because he's not in either one of the places. Ve'amart. So, but we said, like, you know, in the first part of the Baraita, didn't we say that when he was in Yehuda, he has to use, like, you know, his name that is in Yehuda, otherwise it wouldn't be Chal, Shem de Galil Imo. So this was like actually both his name that he was known in Yehuda together with the name that he was known in Galil. Ela shema minaha de itrazek ha de lo etrazek. So we learn from the fact that, like, you know, there's different way of looking at it, that like there's like a different way in these two cases in the Baraita. In the first case, this is like, we know that the husband has two names. And in the second case, it is that like, we don't really know that he has like the two names. So this is like how we can actually make sense out of it. Shema mina. And this is from this that we actually like know that the way that Rav Ashi decided that the decree applies when you have two names. This is what actually is correct. Ahi dehavu karu le Miriam. There was a woman who was named Miriam, and this is how people knew her. U furta Sarah, but some people actually called her Sarah. Okay, so when came time for her husband, he decided to get, you know, to give her a get. Amre ne'ardee. So the Rabbanim that were in Ne'ardea said that the way that the get should be read was Miriam v'chol shum sheyesh la, ve'lo Sarah v'chol shum sheyesh la. It would be that it would be written by Miriam and every name that she has, and not Sarah and every name that she has, because the main name that she had was actually Miriam, and that's the one that actually stuck. We're gonna stop here.
Miriam, have a good day, all.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Have a good day and thank you.
Thank you again.
Thanks.